Assessment is an essential part of any education. Assessments give teachers information regarding what knowledge students have gained and what knowledge they still need to acquire. Some assessments are meant to measure short-term knowledge, and some are meant to measure something that has now been stored in long-term memory. Let's talk a little bit about the types of assessment and why we give them at Lincoln Academy. First, let's talk about state-mandated testing. As a public school, we are required to administer specific tests to our students. Many of these tests provide data that helps our teachers know what students can do and where they need help. The state requires kindergarten students to take a test called KEEP when they start and end kindergarten. This assessment measures the mastery of preschool skills when they enter kindergarten and the mastery of kindergarten skills as they exit. This test is administered one-on-one with teachers. This takes about 15 minutes at the beginning and end of the year. Another state-required assessment is the Acadience Reading Assessment. This assessment used to be called DIBELS. The Acadience Reading Assessment measures student fluency. Students in kindergarten and first grade identify names and letters of sounds as well as blending short words. As students get older, they read 3 different passages for 1 minute. They retell what they read, and they do a short vocabulary test in class. This assessment is administered 3 times a year. This takes somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes per student per assessment. If students score well below or below benchmark, there are additional requirements to administer an ongoing progress monitoring assessment monthly. The Acadience Reading Assessment is a screener. It is not a comprehensive assessment. It is meant to measure the most predictive skills of reading. The Acadience Math Assessment is also required by the state for students in 1st through 3rd grades. This assessment measures early numeracy, computation, and problem solving. This assessment is given 3 times per year. Students in 1st grade take tests individually and as a whole class. Each student meets individually with the teacher for about 5 minutes and then takes another 6 minutes in class to complete this assessment. Students in 2nd and 3rd take the assessment as a whole class. This takes approximately 10 minutes for 2nd graders and 30 minutes for 3rd graders. Again, the Acadience Math Assessment is a screener and not comprehensive in nature. It measures the most predictive skills of math proficiency. The state requires all 3rd through 8th grade students to take the RISE assessment at the end of the year. Students in 3rd take the Language Arts and Math assessment, while those in 4th through 8th take Language Arts, Math, and Science. Additionally, students in 8th grade take a RISE Writing assessment. In February of 2023, the state released a report about assessments. In that report, they shared that most students spend 3.5 to 6 hours, depending on grade level, to complete the test in the spring. The state report also calculates how much time of the year is dedicated to state-assigned testing. A link to this report is shared in the description of this video. 9th graders in the state of Utah are required to take the Utah Aspire Plus. This assessment covers language arts, writing, math, and science. This assessment is timed, and students are allowed 255 minutes to complete it. As a school, we're able to use the assessments that take place 3 times a year to see how students are growing. We use the Acadience assessments as one of at least 3 data points to determine if a student is at risk and needs additional support. We also use the data from the other assessments to evaluate the effectiveness of our programs and curriculum at Lincoln. The next group of assessments are school-selected. Lincoln chooses to administer an iReady diagnostic assessment for language arts and math 3 times a year to students in kindergarten through 5th grades. This assessment is taken as a whole class and done on the computer. The assessment helps to generate an individualized path for students' instruction on the iReady system. It also provides teachers with suggested groupings of students, as well as an idea of how prepared a student is for a specific topic being covered. We choose to administer this in the winter because it adjusts the path for the students and updates the data for teachers based on student growth and progress. On average, the BOI, beginning of year reading assessment, took students 50 minutes to complete, and the MOI, middle of year assessment, took 55 minutes to complete on average. The BOI math assessment took 49 minutes on average, and the MOI math assessment took 59 minutes. The iReady diagnostic assessments are more comprehensive in nature and assess multiple standards across the grade. Similar to iReady, students in 6th through 9th grades are assigned an IXL diagnostic assessment for language arts and math. These assessments create a path for individualized instruction and support for students using IXL. These scores are also a part of triangulated data that help us place students correctly for both math and language arts instruction. I'm not aware of a report that will share the time spent on diagnostics. However, we estimate that on average it takes students 45 to 60 minutes at the first of the year and about 15 minutes each month to update their diagnostic score. Lincoln also asks its grade level and content teams to administer regular assessments that measures an essential learning standard. These are all generated by the teams. Teams can use a question from an assignment, a writing assignment, a question or two from a test, or design something specific to measure the standard. These assessment windows range between weekly and every 3 to 4 weeks throughout the school. Teachers take the results of these assessments and use them to create small group instruction, individual help, or to adjust whole group instruction for their classroom and their grade level. Finally, teachers and curriculum programs call for tests to be given at the end of units. These measure whether students have mastered the concepts taught and what needs to be adjusted going forward. We feel that all assessments we choose to administer at Lincoln have a very specific and useful purpose. We try to make the ones required by the state useful and meaningful as well, so that the data from these assessments can be used to help make decisions about individual students at Lincoln Academy.